That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to the SpoilerCast for the latest Disney Pixar original animated story. That's right. We're turning red. Okay, Dragon, I'm going to hand it off to you, buddy. I might have a hot take for this movie, but I'm going to hand it off to you first.
Okay. All right, so it's no secret I went into this very psyched, for Domeshi's, directing debut after, she kind of turned the world on its ear with Bao. Of course, a lot of love for Bao. Just utterly blown away by that short that she did. No wonder, she got a film, even if it didn't win even I know it won the short film Oscar. Even if it didn't win the short film Oscar, it should have gotten, a feature, which thankfully it did. So we're all good there.
Big girls in the comments, by the way. Happy to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Woo.
All right.
Yeah. So, again, this is the sell once we got Pete Docter kind of flushing out that D23. Not D23, the Investors Day thing. Basically, the Incredible Hulk with the emotions of a 13-year-old Chinese Canadian girl. Like, okay, very, very interesting sell. Obviously, again with kind of our marketing thing. Very 2002 kind of trailer.
Knives Chow, the middle school years.
Okay. So, in many ways, I think this is like a spiritual sequel to Inside Out in many respects, because obviously it's like a year removed from where Riley turned 12. We're checking with 13-year-olds, so very close in that anyway. So, they're very much kind of feels like a spiritual successor to Inside Out. I think it's another win for Pixar. Not necessarily all I hoped it would be, though. I was not as blown away with this as I was with Bao. And again, that was my expectation going in. And again, I think it's a reasonable expectation to make.
I was not expecting something like Bao just based on the tone.
Well, I mean, I wasn't expecting a full-on.
I mean, the trailer was very lighthearted, so
yes.
I don't know. We'll get into that.
Can I get back to my thought?
Yeah, sorry.
What I mean is, I wasn't expecting full-on like not like Battle the Feature or something like that. I was expecting something that made me feel enraptured like I was with Bao.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of the DNA of Bao here, which was my favorite element of the film. I think it's a great film, but I think it's the first time I personally might have encountered this with a Pixar film, at least for me, in recent memory, where it kind of, it feels kind of like it borders on being a film targeted for for a demographic that I'm not really a part of.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just taking all my wit.
A movie about teenage girls going through puberty?
I know, hard to believe. My point is,
I never would have guessed you weren't in the demographic.
See, I was going somewhere at this point, but then you decided to just mock me and just make it. You see, just thanks for that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so where I was going with this is it's kind of like what I have with The Little Mermaid to a degree, where it's like I love that film and what it represented for the animation industry, the artistry. I love sequences in that film, particularly Part of Your World. Again, that's like the animation, the Glen Keane of it all. I adore everything the Little Mermaid stands for and everything. So with that in mind, this is this again, but it's a film it's a great film that I can respect, and I really like how it was made, and I like a lot of the stuff that's in here. There are a few gripes I have with it, but not gripes that I would say that are objectively bad, just gripes and kind of tonal stuff. I mean, with the theming of the stories, like this is good, not quite for me, but it's good. So I adore a lot about this film. Ultimately, it's like it's just not as I'm just not as blown away by it as it's kind of like an inverse of Luca to a degree. Where Luca, it's like each act of the film kind of gets better and better, and with Turning Red for me, it's kind of in reverse, where it's like I'm really blown away by Act 1, I'm still on board for Act 2, and Act 3 it kind of wavers for me.
Act 3 definitely turns into generic action climax to a certain extent.
Does that make any sense to you? It's a little bit like
it does.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it's as great as the last. For me personally, I don't think I'm not as blown away as like the last 3 entries Pixar has made. If you compare this to that, not a truly fair comparison. It's a very different film, but I'm just saying it's kind of where I'm at.
Before Soul.
It would have been incredible. I believe it's Incredibles 2, yeah.
Oh, this is better than Incredibles 2. I'm
Well,
sorry.
no, I said the last three, Tiki. Remember, you have Soul is the third. You have Soul, you have... Well, sorry. Sorry. Onward was before Soul, sorry. It was Onward,
Oh, yeah,
Soul...
okay. I can agree to that. I can
Yeah,
agree to that. This isn't quite
that's...
on the level of Onward.
That's
All
what I
right,
meant. You
that's
have
fair.
Onward, Soul, and Luca. Those are the three I was referring
That's
to.
fair. That's fair. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not as blown away as I am with those three for me.
All right. So, yeah, I think obviously this is not like we are Dragon. I feel like we need to break out the David Hyde Pierce skiing analogy again. It's like we are clearly not teenage girls. Like, this is not our demographic. This is not our territory. Like, this is definitely the most teenage girl centric Pixar movie there has ever been. But I tell you, Dragon, I kind of respect the hell out of this movie for that.
Yeah.
I honestly think this is a pretty ballsy movie for just being very realistic to the, to the teen experience. And I'm going to throw something out here. I think the comedy in this movie is great. And I think it's complemented by the fact that I know the character designs are divisive. I personally love them. I personally think that it's a great...
People don't like the character designs?
People are bitching about the character designs, Dragon.
People are crazy.
I know. I love the character designs. I honestly think it's a high point of the movie for me. And I think the animation is just so fluid. It's almost Looney Tunes-esque in some points. Honestly, there's some Mitchells versus the Machine style energy here, especially in the first act. I kind of wish they would have carried that through to the rest of the movie. I agree. I honestly think as far as comedy goes, Dragon, this was serving me up a pretty good laugh per minute ratio, just with how high energy it is. And I'm not going to lie. I do think the third act is probably the weak point, but I will counter that I actually got the third act spoiled for me before I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, the mom's going to turn into a giant panda. All right. And Dragon, that sounded fucking awful. I'm not going to lie to you. It sounded like a repeat of Ralph Breaks the Internet. I was not looking forward to it at all. And honestly, I kind of dig the scale of it. I kind of dig the fact that the last encounter, was basically a conversation in the form of an action scene.
I mean, to be fair, you said the same thing about Ralph Breaks the Internet too, where it was literally, well, it's more of like a conversation, though it's kind of, it's...
This is way better than Ralph Breaks the Internet. I'll give it that much as far as Climax goes.
Okay.
I'm very on board with this, and I think it's a great kind of compliment to Luca, because we have, with this and Luca, we have two very, very stylized, very small scale Pixar movies that are arguably two of the most creator driven Pixar movies that there's ever been. As far as I am digging this practice of taking the shorts directors and giving them movies based directly on their styles and letting them go outside of the lines of the house style for Pixar. I am digging that. I want more of that. I really hope that Pixar just continues that philosophy in the future. Luca and Turning Red might not be the top tier, most epic Pixar movies ever, but I certainly think they're damn charming. And Dragon, I think, for the teenage girls in the audience, I can't imagine teen girls watching this movie and not relating to it.
That's the thing. I think this is perfect for that demographic. I have no compunction with it for how good it's a job it's doing for that demographic.
It's like good yoga hosers.
Yeah, well, it's a far better received version of yoga hosers.
All right. Anyways, okay. Let's see. Pink Pearl. Let's see. Pink Pearl has some comments here I want to highlight. The Chinese Canadian movie with the same trope as Brave.
Yeah, I can see the. Well, we'll get into that, but yes, but Brave on its surface with the panda bear of it all, it's very obviously the Brave comparisons are certainly there.
It's I just think it's a way better movie than Brave.
All right.
Let's see, not a good movie, not really a movie I'd rewatch, but it's good.
That's kind of where I'm at on it.
I honestly could see this movie playing good on a rewatch, though, just because of how high energy it is, and like I said, kind of that joke per minute ratio. So we'll see. I honestly have a feeling this could be one of those movies that gets stronger on rewatch with all the little details there
Well,
are.
I've already rewatched it a couple times, and I mean, I'm still pretty much feeling the same way. But
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, the high energy thing's still there. I'm enjoying it. It's just again, once we get to the kind of that moment where things kind of take a turn, it's like, and here we go. I mean,
All right.
I'm more comfortable with it, but it's like, okay, well, here we go. It's there.
All right, so Dragon, this is a kind of a random place to start, but I'm just like I'm bursting at the seams to talk about him, and it's just like Disney and Pixar are on such a roll with lovable dads. How great was Jin in this movie, Dragon?
I loved Jin.
Oh my fucking lord. Like, I think easily the best scene in the film is that video camera scene. Would you agree?
Oh, well, look, that scene's great, but you know what, for me personally with Jin?
What?
His introduction just kills me every time. We do like the master chef sort of like he's just making the dinner. He's so good, it's so artful. we have like the Jim Gordon shades on for a second with the glasses. It's like Jin's my guy. And also, here's why Jin works. Again, we'll get to the video camera series real quick. What makes Jin work is
he's such an understated character in a movie that's so high energy.
He's sidelined, but he's there when it counts. You know, he's kind of like he's in the background during the big scenes. Like it's time. He's just okay. I'm gonna inch backwards here. You know, it's just. But again, when that video camera scene happens, he fills Mei Mei in exactly what she needs to know. So again, Jin just a great talk, and the advice to Mei Mei about like the whole rift being his fault and everything. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I love his design. His design is probably the most Bao style design in the movie. Would you agree?
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying there are a couple kind of Bao-esque. Sure. The design principle, I mean, particularly for the parents, like there's a lot of Bao in there, but there's a little bit more, it's a little less caricatured than Bao was. So, I mean, by the same token, yeah, Jin is, again, more like Bao is a caricatured version of Jin, kind of, like, even though it came before it. So, yeah.
And I just think, like we've been getting such great dads, with, God, I feel terrible, but I forget the name off the top of my head, but the one in Luca.
Massimo.
Yeah, thank you. And then, of course, Agustin, which I know he's one of the high points for Encanto for you, even though you don't love that movie as much as I do.
Wait, that's his name?
Agustin, yeah.
No, yeah, he was great. I love that guy.
My dad, Agustin, well, he's accident prone, but he means well.
See, this is too many names, too many people. Anyway, so we're just gonna.
So many kids in our house. So let's turn the sound up. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry.
In fact, you have to memorize the song to know all your characters. That's my anyway.
Yeah, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, man. That's his thing. Anyways,
he's got to get a new thing. It's exhausting again and again. Anyway,
all right.
So, okay, I guess to backpedal a little bit. So, Act 1 is on the whole. Very, very strong. Again, we have the 2002 setting, which that's what I'm saying. Great choice, setting it very specifically. Okay, which again, so rarely is like not only just like setting the song, we're setting like very.
It's making me feel old that 2000s are becoming like the 90s or the 80s. Dragon. That's honestly existentially terrifying.
So very much Mei Mei a reflection of an avatar for the director, for Domei. Totally. Much like the young Domei Shi in so many regards. It's a girl in a very little transitional phase as she's kind of walking us through how honestly like the big credo, I assume, in the Chinese household, in Domei Shi's case, the Chinese Canadian household, the honoring the family comes first in the house. It's like the main credo of the family. And how did you feel about like the fourth wall break and just kind of wraparounds for the film?
Well, like I said, it was very Mitchell's-esque, and I kind of wish they would have kept that throughout more of the movie.
Well, speaking of Mitchell's, I mean, I don't know if you saw any behind the scenes. They put up a little. It wasn't as feature length as they made it sound.
Yeah, I saw that. I just didn't have time to actually watch it.
Well, the point being, I was expecting a little more feature length.
How long is it?
It's like 48 minutes. Probably less because of all.
Oh, you know what? That's a bit longer than I was expecting it to be. So I'll definitely check it out.
It's probably shorter than that because you have like all the different credits at the end. You know how that goes.
Oh, let's call it 40 minutes.
All right, maybe 42, but okay. Anyway, so it's so funny, and they basically recreated the opening of this film in like a behind the scenes thing, or did like they used the cruddy camcorder video, and they did like the fourth wall breaking, like kind of we're working on Turning Red right now, and it was like really funny.
Uh-huh.
So again, like that whole thing where she's walking us through. Again, it was very Kid 90 esque, like that documentary of with the kid, the Punky Brewster with the video camera, that sort of thing. So the fourth wall adjustment of the exposition was funny. We definitely see the anime influences that were a part of this film, like Sailor Moon and everything. We kind of saw, honestly, we don't like the cutesy faces that we make here and there.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the
Okay.
fucking anime eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I know this is not. I don't think this is technically the proper.
It's a
term, but
choice. And it's a choice that I love, but it's also a choice that I could totally see rubbing people the wrong way.
Well, here's the thing. This is not the proper term for it. It's kind of like Pixar's version. It's like seeing Pixar do Super D, the Super D formation, like the chibi faces and the exaggeration.
Oh yeah, it's
sort of
totally
thing. It's
Pixar's version of that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is really interesting to see. I mean, I was kind of down for it. I like the choice. I admire the choice. Like, okay, well, we're going the anime direction because we're kind of in that. I mean, just the animation stuff, the bridging a little bit, just the design work itself. Period. Our design is kind of like Luca really opened the doors in a big way. In which okay, we're going to go a little more Miyazaki, get a little bit more like we're going to go back to.
This is more of a 3D Miyazaki movie than the actual first 3D Miyazaki movie is.
Well, ultimately, yeah. Which is funny how that works. So, but seriously, the anime influence and the Miyazaki influence has been strong with the recent Pixar films, and we're going more caricatured style, which has been, I think, a brave and so far a choice has been paying out.
I'm digging it. I hope they keep it up.
I think with this movie in particular, you can tell me if I'm wrong here. This one, far more than Luca. If Luca had a little bit of this, like if anyone really overthink it with just the Miyazaki similarities, this one, there's a full-on Steven Universe look to these characters to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Particularly all the friends, all the supporting little.
Do we get into the friends? Because honestly, the friends freaking cracked me up.
Tell him, okay, Mr. Encanto. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Did Priya just feel like I know she wasn't, but did she feel like she was voiced and or modeled after Stephanie Beatrice?
A little bit, yeah, I could see it.
Anyway, yeah. So
but you know what's funny is that the typical image I have of Stephanie Beatrice as an actress is like so not Mirabelle.
Right.
Because she's got that kind of like dry sort of delivery and sarcasm to her.
Yeah, Rosa Diaz from.
Yeah.
When I think of her, I'm thinking of that character. That was my introduction to her.
Whereas Mirabelle is very much not that.
Yeah. So right. we have Miriam, Abby, and Priya. Yes, Miriam, Abby, and Priya.
Okay, Abby very much feels like even down to the "it's so fluffy" line. Like she's basically a teenage version of the one kid from Despicable Me, right? I can't be the only one that sees it.
I mean, that's I'm not.
She literally says it's so fluffy.
Yeah, come. I think that's you playing into memes on that one, Tiki. But yeah, I'm not saying
it's literally the same line and the same delivery.
Yes, because we can't have the same lines and other things, right? Because we can't just.
Oh, I guess Kimba invented animals fighting. Oh, I guess
it's a fluffy panda. What do you want her to say? It's so furry. You want her to say that?
No, I don't.
Well, there you go. We can't all be connected. Get over it.
All right, but I do like. I think these three girls really work as a unit, man. Like, I don't think any one of the three have a lot of depth to them, but I think as a unit, they're a great kind of bunch of comic relief characters, and I do think they have a lot of heart to them too.
I concur. Also with Abby, I got more an Amethyst vibe based on the Steven Universe look for me. But yeah, I love their role in the story in that they are the grounding, kind of calming element when the girl when Mei can't turn to her mother very clearly or her family. She relies on her friends, and that's her mind palace kind of version of like, okay, it just thinks into herself like the adorable kittens are in the box. How does she not emote like any anime?
Okay, that test was honestly like that test had some of the best comedic timing in the whole movie. I thought
it was well timed. So right, but we ground the emotions and everything really well. There's a diverse bunch of that would be authentic to 2002. I heard, I don't know if they're friends or this. I heard, like, I completely forgot about this. I meant to look into this before we went on. Apparently, so far as like with the first trailer, it was like an indication of like diabetes, which again was kind of rarely touched upon. But just the fact that it was like, I don't know if maybe her friends are diabetic, or at least one of them is. I'm not sure. It's the fact that there's like a little subtlety there. Like, yeah, we're just gonna. It's very pragmatic, very real world, despite the caricature design. So little touches like that kind of went along. Speaking of which, unless you want to talk about Tyler, we can move on to something else. Not a friend, mind you. He's more the enemy, but it's still.
Well, one other thing I want to note about the friends is like I do like that they all three have distinct personality. Like obviously, Abby is the hyperactive. Like I'd say she's the biggest comedy relief, and then Priya is kind of like the the more grounded one. And then I really like Miriam the best because I feel like she has the most character out of all of them. Specifically, Dragon, one of the big moments for me that really stuck out to me. It's a very small moment, but it's when Maylin is trying to get the friends out of the room, and she's like, "My friends don't like you anyways," and Miriam's just like, "Wait," or I'm sorry, my mom doesn't like you anyways, and Miriam's just like, "Wait, what? She doesn't?" And then you can just see the look on her face, like even outside, like when she's staying outside, like she's still trying to like contemplate that. And then that leads to like by far the most dramatic moment in the movie, where it's like the mom is pissed and she doesn't go to Mei Lin. She marches straight up to the friends. Oh God. Like that is a dramatic moment, man. I mean, it's low stakes as far as Pixar is concerned, but like, tell me you didn't feel that when the mother walks straight past Mei Lin.
Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this isn't going to be good. All right. Speaking of which, let's get into the mother.
Okay, my favorite character in the movie, easily. I love Ming Li so much. Sandro has been having a banner time in all her roles.
She has. She's been kind of having a renaissance.
I mean, plus I know that you never got around to her show on Netflix, which was really good, The Chairman. So she is just so darn talented. I've loved her on so much. She was great in that. Her big show is Killing Eve. Obviously, wonderful. Just one of your favorite parts in Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Just Sandra, man, she rocks. And also popping up in Disney. She's kind of Sandra Bingo is more like it, man, because it's like she's crossing the board everywhere, man. In Invent, she's been on Amazon, she's been on Disney, she's been in Pixar now because she was in Raya and the Last Dragon. She was in. She was in.
So I think the moment that kind of sums up this character in a nutshell, Dragon, is that we get like the whole first act building up like what a tough and stern parent she is, right? And then literally that phone call, all it takes is like your mom's on the phone and she just crumbles, man.
I loved it so much.
That is such a, like, it's hilarious, but it's also a great character beat that tells us all we need to know about this character going forward.
Do you remember who her mother was?
I can't say I do, no.
Didn't sound familiar.
No, tell me.
Hua Ching Ho, if I'm saying her name right. So she is Madame Gao from the Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Madame Gao is her mother.
I mean, that's very appropriate. Honestly.
Yeah, it was perfect casting. Yes, I was like, I know that voice. So seriously, just what I love too is she's not just like hard nosed at the top. We build the whole honor the family thing. We see like where it comes from. That there is we see there are layers to the mother. She's not just the antagonist. She's not purely an antagonist or anything like that. We see that she is.
I mean, this movie is kind of riding that Disney Pixar wave of like we don't necessarily need a villain.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. By the way, I just want to mention this. I think she's got a wonderful design. I just love everything about her design. Strong mother. You know what? I think I really liked her ultimately. I think reason you liked her too, maybe. So Norma Bates-esque.
A little bit, yeah.
So just a wonder. Again, she's wonderfully.
Oh God! If Norman was a teenage girl, Norma would be pulling that pads thing.
Yep.
Norma, you forgot your pads.
Okay, hold on. Okay, real quick, with back to her. So again, she's wonderfully exaggerated, but for a reason. She's trying to keep a watchful eye on her possibly, red panda transforming daughters. She's trying to keep an eye on her to avoid that hardship. But again, in doing so, it's a thing that's going to happen, and she thinks she can control. Like many parents think, if I keep a watchful eye, I can stop the bad stuff from happening. And it's just this. I love that she is oblivious to just the pattern in her family repeating itself. With the relationship she has with her own mother, which, as you said, that phone call scene just a perfect crack in the armor.
Totally.
Just flawless. So let me tell you what some of the stuff that really impressed me with Act One that feeds into kind of some stuff you mentioned already. So we represented the hormones and transitional phase of a 13-year-old girl so well in ways I'd never seen done before, like feelings towards boys. The sketchbook scene.
Uh-huh.
Like we're calling out that this is like we're calling out in the animation
It
industry.
normalizes teen girls, and I respect the hell out of that, man.
Yeah,
it's not a movie that's made for us, but I feel like for the target demographic, this is going to be a super empowering movie.
I mean, I love that they address this sort of thing. It's like these are like the taboo subjects in animation that would never, like years ago, would never have been mentioned. Like we're breaking down the walls a little bit here.
Okay, well, I will give you a perfect example. So in 2002, 2003, that was literally exactly the time when I was in middle school. So it kind of, it kind of lines up perfectly. And yeah, Dragon, I can concur. Like, this is like, you would not touch this sort of subject matter with a 10-foot pole. Like, you would barely touch this sort of subject matter in adult animation. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's the thing. I'm so tired of it always being kind of the boys' journey and everything, and always like it's like the boys going through the changes and stuff. It's like we never acknowledge the flip side of it in an accurate way. So I like that we kind of like, we did address the girls getting interested in boys,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, my favorite bit with the animation was I just adored like the little touches, like Mei, she's caught. And she knows if she looks down, her mother will discover the notebook and snoop, and she's going to find what she's dreading. She's going to look for, and then we have a nightmare scenario kind of play out. And this is where kind of we walk a line in the film where it borders on. This borders on something I can only assume happened to Domeishi sometime in life, like this convenience store scene.
Uh-huh.
But again, it's a little exaggerated, so it's kind of hard to tell how much of that's kind of like we're pushing. The movie is called Turning Red, not just for the panda, but I think thematically it's a theme of embarrassment and raw emotion. But particularly, and I've been mentioning this with the Spark shorts, and I think this really pops here, where the Spark shorts, like Burrow, which gets an Easter egg in this film, so it's not completely off topic. Burrow, that film captured embarrassment so well, and I think we brought a lot of that into this film for a story purpose, and I really love that. And Tiki, to you and I, because again, whiter and blander than David Hypier's skiing, as we've stated. We never, at least I'll speak for myself here, I never in a million years would have thought of let's parallel the transformation that she's going to go through, and as it's happening, parallel to menstruation. It's like genius. It's brilliant. That makes so much sense. That's how you take this topic and you do it without being out of left field or making just a bland joke about it.
So I'm gonna take that. Let's put a pin there, and let's extend that pin forward, Dragon, because I do agree that it's a really great metaphor. However, I do feel like I am not a fan of the way that metaphor was implemented into the story, and I'm wondering if you had similar issues.
Well, what do you mean? I like we basically paralleled it with she wakes up and she's.
So here's my thing with it. I absolutely think that as a visual metaphor and everything like that, it works flawlessly. Like it's a 1-for-1 for sure. But my flaw with it, I think, is I don't necessarily think that you had to go so mystical with the storytelling here. I don't think it needed to have like some sort of epic backstory to it.
Okay, well, just to clarify, you're specific. I'm speaking of like the metaphor of the whole menstruation. You're speaking specifically to how the panda lore works. Then.
Yes.
Okay, let's.
Like, I love the actual metaphor. I'm just saying, like from a plot point of view, I am not crazy about how the actual panda stuff functions.
Okay, you should have led with that because we're on two different conversations here. Okay, so the red panda lore, then, just to talk about that. So, apparently, the inspiration for the film, if I read it correctly, was like apparently the Chinese red panda kind of lives like a teenager, which kind of gave her the light bulb of like, okay, maybe we can just kind of use the struggle. And because again, it snacks a lot, it sleeps, it's very mischievous, ergo red panda. So that's why it's the red panda. Now, so here's the thing with the red panda thing. I like the genesis of it. I like the whole Sun Yi and the idea of this is a mother protecting her daughters, and then basically it was like kind of a response to kind of protect her family from the horde. So I mean, I'm on board, particularly, I guess, on the rewatch, just the idea that, okay, so this was like an omen of good luck and strength and fortune for the family, like a blessing to the family. And basically it got passed down with the assumption that it would be to help the family, but ultimately society's change. The societal needs change. Like, well, we're not at war anymore. We're not like, we're not in a war zone or anything. So we don't really need to do this anymore. Yet it's still happening. So we got to stop this. I mean, I like the temple set piece, don't you?
Yes, I do really like the temple set piece. What I like about it specifically is that it very much reminds me of one of my favorite places in San Francisco, which is the Japanese Tea Gardens. And I like just the general conceit of the family running this sort of like museum shrine type thing.
Here's something I had a problem with, though.
Okay.
I think the fake panda suit telegraphs the end of it.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like, okay, like the marketing is no way of hiding with the marketing in any way, shape, or form that, okay, a girl turns into a giant red panda. That's the sell of our movie. There's no way we're just going to have her be in a fake panda suit without people thinking, okay, well, that's possibly a very direct path to her ending there. She's just going to be the panda at the end doing the thing still in the fake panda suit. It's a little, I don't know. It's a little telegraphed for me that, okay, she's probably going to remain a panda at the end of the movie.
Okay, I hear you.
I mean, yeah, go on.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think like by the third act, the whole thing just kind of became a little. I honestly think the ambition of the premise kind of crumbled a little bit under its own weight by the third act, where it's
Can I interpret what doesn't work for you about the panda lure thing?
Sure.
For me, I don't know if you feel the same about this, but I'm going to assume what really sours me on the third act, particularly. Again, it's not like a big like, oh, burn this movie at the stake or anything. It's just like we kind of went that way with it. It's a little less special now. We had all the aunts and the grandmother.
Absolutely, we did not need all the aunts in the movie at all. They were by far the most useless characters in the movie.
Okay, just to bridge into it, let me lay it out here for a second. So, for me, the problem spot of the film is literally when the aunts and the grandmother needs to show up. That's fine. Now, the aunts did not need to show up, but here's why they're there. Okay, there's a very specific reason they're there. Unfortunately, this is one of the cultural things, though. In that, I absolutely get it. That yes, it has the ceremony of it all would require the entire family. It can't just be grandma who shows up. I get it. So that's why we have the whole family there. Even though I think it overcrowds our story, and at the very least, even if you want to have them all there, it's one thing, but don't force them into it's too many pandas at the end. That's the problem. Only the grandmother.
It literally becomes Shazam.
Yeah, and like here's the thing: you need the daughter, you need the mother, and at the very most, you need the grandmother as a panda.
Sure.
The grandmother could have helped. It's a generational triangle. It's a triangle. That's all you need. You don't need we lose the perfect shape that is the triangle when we invite all the aunts.
Oh god, there was a really cringy triangle joke in this movie. Cringy in a good way. Do you remember exactly what it was?
I remember exactly what it was.
What was it?
Okay, so they're kind of not flirting. They're kind of making some cutesy talk with the boys. Like, hey, May, she says, "Oh, you're a triangle boy because you're a cute."
Oh god. Like, and I honestly think the movie's kind of filled with like cringe humor like that, but I think it works. I think it works specifically for the target demographic. All right.
Anyway,
but yeah, I think you and I can both agree that I think the climax is handled a little bit better than Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I think it's still like it's kind of where the movie starts to fall apart a little bit.
Do you want to just talk about all the Act 3 stuff? Do you want to get to it later?
All the what?
All the Act 3 stuff, or do you want to just kind of get
to it? Yeah, sure. Let's just go through it.
Okay, so just with our plot in general that gets us there. So I think Pixar might be in danger of something. It's kind of occurred to me with this film. Now, I don't think we're there yet. I don't think it hurt this film. It's not a detriment to the film, but I think if we do this again, we might have a problem. So it's one film removed. Luca being it's basically we did this in Soul and we did it here. A Curum plot. I'm going to call it a Curum plot. So making a film, it's like the second time we've done this almost in a row where it's like, oh, we got to fix this. Let's lay out what we need to do to undo this, and that'll be kind of the crux of our film. Can I make a
point about that really quick?
Well, yes, please go on. Yeah, make it.
So one of the first times in the movie where I was like, oh, okay, that's the plot, is when we're having like the big exposition dump on the mother, and the mother's like, I went through it, and I broke the curse, and so could you. And I'm like, oh. All right.
See, now, the reason this is a concern, I don't know about you, I think the reason it's a concern is it boxes in the story to be, okay, she's going to end that way. It's a film full of possibilities that then get shrunk into cured, not cured.
And I absolutely think that the meat of the story, by far the most entertaining stuff about it, is the stuff with the friends raising the money for the concert. Like, I really think the concert should have been like the biggest stakes in the movie, much in the same way that getting the scooter was in Luca.
Now, let me tell you, the Vespa. So let me tell you what I think there was BS contrivance in this whole film is. And it's Abby's fault, man. Abby misreading Toledo is utter BS. I don't care. It's not, okay, I'm going to tell you what. Here's I had to rewind it to be sure. I had to rewind it to be sure. Like, wait a minute. It's like, no. It's not like an abbreviation that she misread as like an L for an R or something.
Her reaction is pretty damn funny, though.
It is, but it's
Toledo?
BS.
What the heck is Toledo?
But still, it's like, how do you? It's Toledo. It's not
also Toledo, Ohio. That's a random ass location to have a big concert.
I forget if Pete Docter's from Ohio or not. I think he is. Oh wait, no, he's from Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
Right. Anyway, but yeah, I just
Ohio is where Cedar Point is,
and now we know.
That's just literally the only thing I think of when I think of Ohio. Whenever anyone mentions Ohio, my mind's just instantly like roller coasters.
I just don't understand how she misread that. It's like it's the full word. It's like there's no abbreviation. There's no way it's the date. It's like how she. We needed a way to put the dates dramatically up against each other and just like them have it be a reveal. I was like, oh, don't make she. Come on, man.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Anyway, so some other stuff. Let's see. So we are again. I told you basically when the ants show up, that's kind of where for me that's when things kind of deflate a little bit. The air starts to get out of the momentum that we built up to that point. Just think about it. What happens right before they show up is May says to her mother, "I don't want you to go." So big dramatic moment, and then Grandma shows up right on cue to break the tension and escalate things, which is good. And then, hey, let's gab and like feed the girl, and let's say, oh, hey, she's doing good for herself, eh? And then this bridges into another. This is where the momentum continues to deflate here. Like, hey, she needs to go to a party to earn the ticket money, and she shows up in the panda costume because Grandma said, "Hey, this is important." That's pretty much all she said. It's like, hey, this is important. Don't transform. And she shows up in the fake panda costume that I'm just thinking is more and more a detriment to the film because like, why on earth would she show up to this thing? No one's going to be happy with this. What universe did she think?
Too.
It's like, in what universe did she think this plan was going to work?
Right.
Just throwing the credibility out the window for me. Come on. I did like it when we terrified the heck out of that punk kid, though. I like seeing that punk kid get us up get some weapons.
And I like that it was a dramatic moment. I think as an oh my god, I've gone too far moment. Yeah, the punk kid deserved it, sure, but he didn't deserve to get hurt in that moment. Like seriously,
he was fine. He was fine.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying she could have potentially gone too far.
I think he should have gotten hit with the ball too earlier, but that was just me.
That's fair. You want to talk about Tyler?
Yeah, he had his guts, but I mean, I'm supposed to, so it's fine.
I feel so. I hate when characters that have my name are also unlikable, Dragon.
Oh, we have people who look like villains in Pixar films. I wonder how they feel.
Right. God. Oh my god, he seriously is the spitting image of that character, man. It's pretty damn
it's distractingly so.
I know. Like
I can't look away.
Not only the design, but the mannerisms and the voice as well.
I know. I could say like if I didn't know any better, like wait a minute, did he get cast and not tell us?
All right. Anyways,
point being, yeah.
Okay, so Tyler.
He's a jerkwad.
What do you think of him coming around by the end of the movie? Because I thought that was a little unearned. Like it's like
I think it was absolutely unearned. It's like, hey, you're a
they
fan
see him at the concert, and he's like a closeted fan of the boy band. It's like, we love you, Tyler. I'm like, what?
That doesn't fix anything.
I know.
He blackmailed you into a party. I mean,
like this is bullshit, man.
Threaten to tell your
I mean,
mom.
not
You
only
know?
that, but it's like he's talking shit about her family. It's like he is
Yeah.
like genuinely like a realistic bully.
I kind of want him to get mauled. I gotta be honest. You know, I know it's not the right thing to say. You know, I kind of want him to get mauled.
So yeah, that part of Act 3 definitely did not land for me.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of him being a closeted fan of the boy band just from a humor point of view, but
yeah, even that, Tiki, I don't know if that really like kind of sells it. It's like, well, now he's back in the fray. I didn't really need him, but they have to show you, okay, so I guess they're cool now.
yeah.
You know. All right. Let's see.
What do you think of the big emotional beat that we get after the climax? For any Harry Potter fans, I call it the King's Cross scene, and I know you don't know what the hell that is, but
Nope.
basically the scene in the woods.
Yes, the woods. Yeah, so the ceremony itself, it's a very cool affair with the visuals. Also, Mr. Gao, voiced by the incomparable. I love that we've given him yet another film, and he's crossed the rift, man. He went from DreamWorks and Kung Fu Panda to One Panda to turning red with the Red Panda, James Wong. Mr.
Doesn't really get a lot of lines, but he's definitely memorable for the time he gets.
Yeah, he had the Tony Bennett line. I love Mr. Gao.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Anyway, yeah, no. Do you notice, however? I'll get
as
back
soon
to your
as he
point.
said the Tony Bennett line, though, I will admit I was like, "Oh, okay." The climax is going to be her singing a boy band song.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't. See,
I called that.
See, I forgot.
As
I don't know.
soon as the Tony Bennett thing was mentioned, like, oh, it doesn't matter what they're singing. I like Tony Bennett. I'm like, oh, okay, that's exactly how I'm going to solve the.
Why didn't I think of that? That's a good point. That's a good observation. Like, yeah, I should have realized. Like, oh yeah, basically it's any song that counts. I was
exactly.
See, my brain was just going to, hey, mention Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
So, I'll point this out.
The memorable Tony Bennett thing has always been the Simpsons appearance he was in. All right. Anyways.
Anywho,
Marge literally just is like, "Hey, look, it's Tony Bennett." All right.
Anyway, so I could bring up analyze that, but that's not going to help us. Analyze this, I mean. So, John Ratzenberg not in this film.
Really? Oh yeah! Wow. What the hell is it?
Second time in a row, not in Luca. Not in this. Tiki, if he's not in Lightyear, I
guess it's just not a thing, man.
What?
I said, I guess it's just not a thing.
It's not a thing.
I mean, seriously, I guess they're just not doing it anymore, honestly.
Honestly, Tiki, what I think's happening is that I think we're not putting... If Ratzenberg doesn't show up in Lightyear, which is the place you're going to put Ratzenberg if he's going to be in anything coming up, he's just going to be doing TV because he's appeared in Monsters
Can you
University.
imagine if he's fucking Zurg?
They will never in a million years.
Oh, I know.
God.
Hey, Lightyear.
No, but seriously, I think he might be done with features, but I'm hoping they just keep him around for television stuff because he was in University, because they're characters that obviously were characters that he's voiced with the Abominable Snowman, so the Adorable.
They need to bring back Bill Hader as the good luck charm, man. They need to have some sort of good luck charm.
Well, I think they're probably moving past the good luck charms because we haven't put Bill Hader or like a recurring one so far in these, so it's
Well, they gave it a whole D23 thing. At one point, he was literally the new John Ratzenberger, but it was a very short stint.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was just like, hey, 2 movies in a row, we can mention this, and then it just didn't happen again.
Right.
Okay, so anyways, with the transfer, the whole ceremony thing, regardless. So yeah, I mean, I do love the whole, like the woods in which the red pandas would reside. It's a very kind of sanguine sort of thing, and we have the big emotional moment between mother and daughter.
I'm not gonna lie, that moment really got to me, man.
Yeah, it was great.
To me, just seeing the slow transition of them walking through the woods, holding hands, and the mom gradually growing older, like from a visual point of view, that really did kind of choke me up a little bit.
I agree. I mean, I just love seeing the humanity on Ming Li, and just seeing her again, basically because we learn a really great visual. I love that the moment I saw it, you just got it. When you saw Wu was the grandmother, you saw Grandma's scar, you knew, okay, Ming probably did that, gave her that scar, and you kind of felt it, and then Jin confirmed it, and just seeing like her like in the aftermath of that moment, like I've hurt my mother, which essentially is what messily we kind of convey in the climax with how Mei Mei is making her mother feel, which we'll get to that in a second. It's just like, just see the aftermath. We hit all the right notes there, and just the whole I'm never going to be perfect in her eyes. I'm never going to be good enough in her eyes. And just seeing, okay, we're seeing the kind of again the triangles being formed. It's like we got to break the loop, man. It was a really nice and tender catharsis.
Hey, Dragon.
Mother and daughter. Yes.
Oh, but let's be clear, Abuela runs this show. Oh, she let us here so many years ago. All right, we got to bring that up because I do think the generational trauma thing, like, it's obviously not the fault of the movie, but like I think Encanto is like the masterpiece of generational trauma when it comes to animation, and this is a good story about generational trauma, you know? I mean, I know you don't feel as strongly about Encanto as I do, but isn't that kind of weird though that both stories are pretty damn similar as far as as far as like living up to familial expectations goes?
I mean, Tiki, I think it's more so we usually see this story with fathers and sons, and just doing it with mothers is, with the mother-daughter thing, it's just kind of overdue. I think it's more so that it's like we have an opportunity to tell it here, and we kind of again, you kind of could say the same thing about Encanto with Mirabelle and her grandmother. Again, it's still kind of a female familial.
Well, I mean, with Encanto, it's more Abuela and literally the whole family.
Well, yes, with the whole fine. All right.
All right. Anyways.
I love the mirror thing. Oh, hey, you walk through the mirror and like the panda comes out the other side. That looked really cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
All right. So the main issue I have outside of the whole like multiple panda thing is I have a hard time buying the kaiju panda, man. I really do. It's like I said she was big. Oh no, Jid. No, hold it right there, buddy. You did not say.
Yeah, it's literally a kaiju.
Okay, you didn't say giant panda. You said big, as in, okay, she'll probably be as big as like when she exited her for a second there. Like as big as the temple, sure. Not as big as a stadium.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the novelty of seeing a full-blown kaiju in a Pixar movie, yeah, it wasn't the greatest choice, I think.
I mean, the reason here, it's less the kaiju. The kaiju thing's just a little hard to buy. But what my problem with the third act is, I think we kind of hurt the emotional climax here. Because here's the thing.
Oh my god!
It should be her fessing up to her mother that she's changing, that like, no, I did these things, not my friends. And basically when she stands up to her mother, that's your climax. Okay, that the mother facing the daughter in the giant panda form, which should just be a moderately big panda, but let's just say giant panda, just her like confronting her mother, that's the climax. But instead, I think what we should have done less of is all this like, we got to do the ceremony again, and you got to keep her busy, all that. Like it's a mix, like a weird mix of like a weird argument and a fight. Which, why are the mother and daughter fighting? I mean, how feral is she? Is she like, it's like the mother's just not listening to anything she's saying in that fight. But I don't know, like we're blurring a line of mother and daughter bickering or having an actual fight, which I like in that scene. But it's like, is she trying to kill her daughter?
Right, yeah.
And it's like ultimately like the solution. I think they're taking the wrong moral away from the story. Ultimately, it's like, so when mom won't listen, headbutt her. That's essentially the moral that we get here. It's like headbutt her.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's funny because I do think the post climax, I think the themes wrap themselves up really nicely.
They do.
It's just the actual climax itself that's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. I think we could have done that without a whole like, we got a cure.
I agree. I honestly think just in general, I feel like this movie would have been better served with lower stakes, because Lucas certainly showed us that a movie with low stakes could work.
It is really funny though that they have to pay the stadium back for destroying it. That's really funny though.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. I do really like that. I love how we end at the temple, though. The fact that now even though I'm not crazy about how we like kind of again, we telegraph that, but I do like that ending. That okay, so she's the big tourist attraction-y draw for the temple, and they've actualized that the mother's kind of coming out of her shell a little bit, and vice versa. Like there's kind of a meeting in the middle there, with everything. It's nice.
Yeah, I think it wraps up pretty well. All right. So I think that's about it, unless you have anything else you want to bring.
I have some stuff, but we kind of jumped around. I don't know if it's going to be relevant anymore.
Yeah, just to make sure we get it in there.
All right. Well, I was gonna talk about the whole the big pad scene, like the big moment in which we had the mother's chased her all the way to the house after like the whole. We had that priceless scene from the trailer when she's like, "You forgot your pads." Only we didn't know it was going that far in the trailer.
Yeah.
So just the fact that again we've hit the embarrassing note so perfectly, and the idea that I love in that scene and the way Sandra is playing it is that it's she's she's walking the line of a good mother, but Beverly Goldberg levels of intrusive mother at the same
Very
time.
much Beverly Goldberg. Yeah,
But
for
again,
sure.
not for a moment do you doubt that she loves her child. And I thought that was so great. And she's really there for it. It's game time for her. Like I got the box full of all the stuff, the chamomile tea, everything she's gonna need for when this day comes. And then obviously it was even worse than what she thought. It was like, okay, it's not the red lilies thing, it's not the red petals, it's the red panda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yep.
What do you think of the main song?
I mean, okay, so I guess another thing to point out is so again, the disconnect for me with the film is again, I want to be clear. The film needed this, and I'm glad it has it. It does need the I think the song choice for again where we're at in the movie. And again, it's a set in the boy band thing. The boy band component is a huge component of the film's plot, so you need it. I myself, I hate boy bands, so I mean that's my
It's
logic.
such a 2000s thing, though.
That's the thing. I mean, I say objectively, it is great, and it's on the money for what the film needs. But again, just like me personally, I detested the boy band element of the movie. But that's just me personally, though. But I can divorce myself.
Okay, you got to admit, at the very least, I think the over-the-top reactions the friends have are humorous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's on brand. It's good. It's just I don't personally like the boy band stuff.
All right. One other thing I need to mention is that it's kind of a quick detail, but how great was the fact that the Tamagotchi at the end with the mother?
Yes. Pink Pearl mentioned this earlier. Yes, one, I just love the Tamagotchi was there, period, and it was like kind of like a callback. Like, oh, you took care of my Tamagotchi, and then of course, yes, the mother taking care of the Tamagotchi is adorable. I love it.
All right. Anything else?
I mean, not particularly. I think. Can you think of anything we missed?
Not that I can recall. No. I want to emphasize that I really do think that the film probably would have been a little bit better served if it was more centered around like, all right, we got to get these tickets, man, or it's life or death. We got to get to this concert because that's basically what the plot of Luca was with the Vespa.
Yeah.
Also, Chris Stuckman had a really good analogy in his review where, with the boy band stuff, yeah, boy bands are obviously not our target thing, but like, like Dragon, imagine if you were hyped to go to your first Comic-Con or something, and then like a week before you were set to go, you did something stupid, and your parents were like, "Nope, you can't go to that." I feel like this movie very much does kind of tap into the whole like when you're a kid, anything can be like make or break. Like your existence depends on doing this thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Chris Stuckman had a really adorable analogy where when he was a kid, there was an Incredible Hulk TV show marathon on a Saturday that he was like really looking forward to as a kid. Mm-hmm. And then one day he did this really stupid thing where he took it's really funny the way he describes it. Like he took a pair of scissors and just cut a hole in his pants just for no reason. Just like, oh, I guess that's what scissors do. And then his father was like, okay, you can't watch the Incredible Hulk marathon. And I feel like that is a pretty universal feeling, like when you are a kid, it's like it is such a like there are higher stakes just in general, like for everything, I feel like. All right. Well, I think that's about it, folks. Big thanks to Pink Pearl for joining us early on. Of course, I look forward to Lightyear when that comes out. I don't know. I do think this is a pretty. I just want to see Pixar take more chances with with these directors, right? And I really think that they've got a good thing going where it's like, oh, you really knocked it out of the park with your short. Well, let's see what you can do with a feature, and not just in the house style, but in your style. So I really applaud that. I really hope they keep going with it. I think Luca and Turning Red are not two of Pixar's most epic or ambitious films, but I do think they're two of the most charming in the Pixar library.
I mean, ultimately, it's a very good debut for Domitia. That's the big takeaway here. I'd like to see more from her. I mean, think about this, Tiki. we've seen the personal story from her with this, and like we've seen with previous directors like Dan Scanlon with Onward, with Andrew Stanton with Nemo, with Pete Docter, with with Inside Out. Just you work. Honestly, with all of his films, let's just say Inside Out, because that's literally his daughter in that movie. For all those verses, I think she needs to work on her climax a little bit, but otherwise, I think she did a really good job. And I think we have another go-to Mother's Day film for Pixar with this.
I mean, even the Batman didn't have a perfect climax, for fuck's sake,
Yeah, climaxes are hard, folks.
Yeah. So
again, not personally. Look, again, I don't think Pixar made an atrocious film by any standards here. I just think this is a good film. Just again, it's kind of like Little Mermaid for Pixar, which again, Little Mermaid, much beloved film. They made their Little Mermaid, which is not my go-to Pixar film, but it's very well made. I can respect the crap out of it. And Dome she kind of putting a lot of herself in there. All that stuff I'm really digging. Just too many pandas.
All right. Okay, folks. See you later. Have a good night.